Mama Mondays is sponsored by Colorado Connected, a website full of ideas for parents. And now, here are the mamas. Hello, mamas out there, and of course, fathers as well. Thank you for joining us on another Mama Mondays panel. You know it's never easy when you're a parent, no matter what age those kiddos are. Well, today we have David Levine back with us on the Mama Table. Hello, David.
Hello.
In for Diane Miles. Of course, you know Sarah Lenti is here, and Sangeeta Singh. Okay, guys, question for you this morning that's kind of been talked about in the last few days for some reason. Your kids are in a lot of activities. They play sports, so are yours, David, right? And Sangeeta, I know Zara does a lot.
Yeah,
and
just gymnastics, aerial arts.
A bunch of stuff. So they're competitive, and so are mine. The everyone gets a trophy era. I've got so many mixed reviews and thoughts about that, but we kind of do live in that kind of world right now. What's your take, Sarah, on everyone should?
Okay, so if you're on a team together, you know, noting that it's the end of the season, giving everyone a trophy, meaning you were in the sport for this season, great. But not everyone is the same. Not everyone is the best. And I think it's okay to differentiate when you have an outstanding student or that's life.
So yeah, you're
not everybody
exactly
needs to be the best. I mean, because they're not, and that's going to be a cruel reality if you don't, when they figure out that I'm not.
Right.
I really wasn't that good at it.
Right.
What if it's your kid that's not the one that's good?
Those are my
Sangeeta.
kids.
I mean, it happens all the time. And I have a very competitive child. I think that the whole everyone wins philosophy, I think, is good to a certain extent because it promotes a sense of camaraderie, especially when you're on a sports team. But as Sarah said, that's not real life. There's going to be failures, there's going to be disappointments. And I think it's important for kids at a very young age to learn how to navigate through all of that and be able to not only, you know, problem solve through that, but work on their sense of self-confidence as well.
Got it. What about for you, David? And you've got two boys.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that it's all about setting them up. So at a certain sense, it makes sense to give everybody a trophy. We're happy we participated, that kind of thing. But I think that sports and being a part of that is learning about losing and what it feels like to lose. And okay, I was just having this conversation so we have a hoop in our living room, and Owen can dunk right now, and Jacob can't. And so it feels like losing, right? He's not as good as his brother. Okay, this is what happens when, you know, you're not as good as somebody. You go back and say, what can I do to get better? Like, there's lessons in losing and not getting the trophy, right?
That's what I say to Eli. Well, you've got to, it's not just going to happen. You have to practice.
Right.
Yeah. Well, here's the problem I see with this is Ava played volleyball. She's played volleyball for a few years, but when we're at a game, it's an important game, and they won't put the good kids in. They're getting creamed because everyone else has to play. Even kids who don't necessarily want to be there, but I'm like, what are you doing? And so are the other parents. Like, what are you doing?
And what age is this again?
They were 8th graders.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
We haven't come to that part yet, but I would imagine at some point it gets more competitive than inclusive.
And I'm like, what? I mean, it was tied. We could have won, but because everybody has to feel like they need to play and they're just as good, they get put in and they took the good ones out. Well, their school didn't do that and we got creamed. That's kind of where I was like, oh my goodness. I don't know what to do in that situation.
What's the right answer and what's the right threshold, right? Is it 9th grade, the high school you start being more competitive, or is it 8th grade? And when are kids ready for that?
But I think we are really seeing a trend where everybody gets to play no matter what. I don't necessarily know if that's good or bad.
I think when they're coming up, like, the boys are in an activity right now where they do try to have all the kids play, but mine are on defense because they're not great on the and I appreciate that they get the chance to run, right? So at this age, when they're 9, why not let them learn, right? We're learning, but then when there comes to a point where it's supposed to be competitive and it's a school against a school.
I remember
at that point, there's a stronger sense of maturity as well in 8th, 9th grade. Like,
oh,
okay, you know, I'm going to sit out because my team needs to win. So the person that can win is going to be out there.
Right.
For some reason, growing up, I played baseball. I remember 13 was the year that things started getting serious and competitive.
Age 13.
Yeah, you're a teenager. There was something about, and I guess maybe that's 8th, 9th grade, 13.
Sure, 8th and 9th grade
Yeah.
starts getting competitive. But I've even heard from coaches who are frustrated because they're like,
sure.
Their hands
there
are
are
tied.
certain kids
Yeah.
that I know don't necessarily want to really even be put in, but I have to. It's kind of like a trend now. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but even coaches have said we have to let everybody play.
I also think about this, however, like 2% of the kids we know, maybe 1% will become actual professional
Right,
athletes. So
right.
like,
Yeah.
let's not take this too seriously
Right.
because
Right.
like one of them maybe is going to become, do you know?
If that,
If
but
that.
yeah. But then there's also, because I've gone through it, then my 14-year-old at the time was like, I just don't even want to play anymore because we
right.
just lost for no reason.
That's fair.
And that's fair
Yeah,
too, because I'm
absolutely.
like, I
If
If you
get
do
it.
it the opposite way, you may have kids falling off that didn't get in. I don't even get
Yeah.
in. I don't want to play anymore,
Yeah.
right? So
It's-
how do you?
just can't
right.
make everybody happy.
Right.
Sorry, we're going to have to look to the professional to solve this one.
Well, I mean, this is a whole different conversation, but what I have noticed, especially now that my daughter is in sports and things like that, there are a lot of kiddos that are there because their parents want them
Right.
to be
Yes.
there.
Right.
I want you to play soccer, so
Yep.
you need to be on the soccer team. And they don't have motivation because they don't want to be there. So I also think it's really important that, parents allow their kids to do what they're interested in.
Even my kids, super into sports, sign them up for soccer. They went, whatever, sign them up for baseball the next season. After 2 Saturdays, it became a chore. I
Yeah.
said, that's it, we're not
That's
doing it
it.
anymore
Yeah.
because
Really?
it's the opposite of what
Okay.
I want it to be fun. I want them to explore. I took the pressure off. Guess what's their favorite sport right now? Baseball.
Baseball.
Yes,
Ooh,
because
love
I
baseball.
took the pressure off. They explored it. They found it on their
Yeah.
own. They found the reasons to like it on their own. So I agree that parent pressure is who's this for?
Right.
It's
Right?
It's in the
Is it for me
parenting
or
too.
them?
Yeah,
Right.
I wanted both my girls to be singers and musicians. It's not happening. It kind of is, but
It
not
is.
really. Yeah, I was way better when I was their age. Kidding. But no, I do think it's very valid on a parent perspective.
Yep.
Are we putting our kids in something that they're going to excel at and that they really love? I think that's where it's at.
Yeah, and it's one thing to try different sports and put them in things, but like,
Yeah, it takes
as
time
soon as
to-
it became a chore to go, it wasn't serving the purpose that I wanted it to, and we just wound up pulling the plug on the season. But it's difficult, and there's a balance. But I agree, it's got to be for the kids enjoying it. It's all about the kids. It's
I
not
did
about
put
me.
Anna in soccer one time, and she would hide the jersey where we could find it, like the day of the game. All right. Thank you so much for being with us today, David. Always a pleasure to have you.
Thanks
and
for having me.
of course, the take coming from a dad. And you at home, if you have any questions for the Mama Panel, send them our way. You can join the conversation. Send us an email to MyCOCO@9news.com. We'd love to hear from you.